Hello there, saints, and welcome to Saved and Justified with me, Lebogang Caesar. I hope everyone is in good spirits. I am too. So, let's get to it. Today we are going to talk about work ethic. Yes, how we are in our various roles. And when I say work ethic, it's not just necessarily work as in your 9 to 5 or your business. It's in general what you do. So I'm going to read from Colossians 3, verse 23. It says, "And whatever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord and not to men." And let's compare it with, I think it's NLT that puts it nicely. "Work willingly at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people." Because as I observe things around me, I find it fascinating that it seems that some of us, our scale of work ethic is unbalanced. What that means is some of us are work more willingly and heartily at our work job that gives us a salary every month than we do at our other things that we do. For example, when we serve in church. And some of us, it's the opposite. When we serve in church, we are there, we serve wholeheartedly. Yes, it's for the Lord because we are doing it in the house of the Lord. But when we get to the workplace, we're different people. We are lazy, we get there late. So we are sort of hypocrites in the things that we do. But it clearly says that whatever you do, do it wholeheartedly as to the Lord and not to men. Whatever, not if you're doing something that will give you more money, not if you're doing something that you call passion, not if you are serving in the church, do it wholeheartedly. It's not just that, it's whatever you do. So it could be raising those kids, it could be doing that, baking those cookies that you sell on the side of the road, it could be selling those cosmetics. Whatever it is, do it wholeheartedly. Do it willingly, with passion, as if you're doing it to God and not to men. So someone who did that so well, I believe, is Daniel. Daniel was a person who was faithful in everything that he did. When he served Nebuchadnezzar, he was faithful. When he served Belshazzar, I think that's his name, how you pronounce it, that is Nebuchadnezzar's son when he was disposed because of his pompousness. He was still faithful because he could have said, I was faithful to Nebuchadnezzar, I don't have to be with this one. When he served King Darius, he was still faithful. Even after he was thrown in the lion's den, he was still faithful. And when he served King Cyrus, he was still faithful. So he was faithful with all these kings in different times where things had happened to him. And understand that these kings were not kings of Israel, they were Babylon and all other nations. So the beliefs were different, but that didn't deter Daniel from still being a faithful guy without fault. He was so without fault that the officials that were serving Darius felt like, no, why is he a favorite? Let's plot a plan, and which they did. But even in that instance, when he knew the consequence of him going against that decree, he still did it. Because one thing I need us to take from Daniel is that he was the same in every area. So he was the same in him praising God, in him serving God. He was the same in his work ethic, in him being faithful. So his faithfulness wasn't just, oh, well, it's under this king, or it's under that king, or because it's the king, if I don't do this, they'll kill me, so I will do it. And then, God, you understand, if I pray to you, they'll kill me. No, he was faithful all around. And that is what we need to take from Daniel. We need to be faithful. We need to be the same people every day. We need to be the same people in everything we do. Christianity is not a cloak that we put on when we enter the church building and then we take off when we walk out. Christianity is a lifestyle. It's an identity. It's who we identify. We identify with Christ. So we don't just identify with Christ in a church building. We are the church. So we have to look like Christ. And in everything that we do, we need to do it as it represents Christ. So if you're calling yourself a Christian, you go to church on Sunday, you go to church on Wednesday for Bible study, you go to church for intercession, you go to church for everything, you teach classes, yet when you're at work, you are the opposite of that. Then we are just doing eye service and we are hypocrites. And remember, God is the one that sees our hearts. So we might fool our bosses at work, we might fool our pastors at church, but we're not fooling God, and reward comes from him. And if you look at Daniel, he kept on getting promoted. Nebuchadnezzar promoted him. Darius also promoted him. He just kept on getting promoted. It came to him. He didn't say, hey, look at me, I'm faithful, promote me. But promotion came to him because of his work ethic, because of his excellent spirit, because of his faithfulness, because there was nothing that they could find faulty at him. We also need to do that. Even if you're at your 9 to 5 and you feel like you're being underpaid, and you feel like all sorts of things are happening, and you're like, okay, no, because I'm being underpaid, I'm not gonna get to work on time, or I'm just gonna do the minimal that is expected of me. God is the one that's seeing that. Yes, your bosses see that. And logically speaking, if your manager, the one that you want the promotion from, sees you slacking your work, what would make him want to give you a promotion? Come on. Logically, that doesn't make sense. So God is the same. If he's looking at you, he's like, my child's heart is becoming hard. She's becoming bitter. This promotion, she's not ready for it. Promotion doesn't come from the south, from the west, from the east. It comes from God. And he is the one that will reward us. So we need to work in everything that we do. Whatever it is that we do, we need to do it heartedly. We need to do it willingly. So I just came such to encourage us, no matter what situation you are in, even if you sell fed cakes at the side of the road, even if you sell those cosmetics after hours, don't be different from when you do your 9 to 5 and when you do your after hours work. Because some of us, we have things that we call, I think I spoke about it in my other video, we call passion projects, the things that we believe that God has called us to do, but it hasn't gotten lucrative yet. It hasn't gotten to a space that we can leave our 9 to 5 to do it. And we put so much passion and so much excitement and zeal into that passion project than we do in the 9 to 5 that is paying our bills, that is helping us put a roof over our head. We don't do that. God doesn't want that from us. He wants us to do everything. Whatever we do it heartedly, as if we're doing it to him and not for men. Because this promotion that we so seek as a person, because everybody wants to be promoted. Even in that business, you want it to be known, you want it to make profit. Do it as if you're doing it unto God and not to men, because your reward comes from God and not from men. So once we change our whole attitude, we will see things will start becoming easier. And sometimes our attitude, the way we behave, even if we are angry at our bosses and everything is going on and it seems it's going wrong, that is what makes the actual process harder. You know what I mean? Like at work, you feel like you're not being noticed and you start being bitter. It puts more weight on your shoulder because it's ungodly. So you've got the tough situation at work. Now you've got your bitterness that's just putting more burden, more weight on your shoulder, and it makes the whole situation seems harder than it actually is. If you're going through challenges at work that you feel like it's just too much and you feel like slacking, rather go to God and ask him to change you. Yes, pray about that situation. Yes, pray for that boss. Because sometimes I feel like we don't even pray for our bosses. We don't pray for our managers, because God can control the heart of a man. Any man, it doesn't matter whether they believe or they don't. God controls the heart of men. So you should pray for your boss. You should pray for the environment that you work in all the time, and pray for yourself. If you've been praying for the environment and you've been praying for your boss, because some of the challenges we go through, it's not that they have to go away. It's for them to build us. It's for them to make us better. So if you see that you've been praying and nothing seems to be changing in the physical realm, then start praying for yourself as well. Start praying that God will change you. Start praying that God shows you which area that you need to work in or on while you are in that situation. But do not do your work begrudgingly. Do not be biased in the things that you do willingly and heartedly because of what you receive or the promise that you receive from that thing. Let everything reflect Christ in you. Let your work reflect Christ in you. Let the works of your hand reflect Christ in you. Let your boss see that there's something different. Even if I'm just being hard on this person, she still remains the same. Let people who see you on Sunday raising holy hand, and when they see you at work working, know that she really is a child of God. So I just came here to encourage us that whatever we're going through, whatever we do, whether we are taking care of our children, even if you are a stay-at-home mom, even if you are just doing that you feel like, I'm just trying, don't just try, do it heartedly. Whatever it is that you do, whether you bake. How is your service with baking? How is your service with doing things for people, with delivering for people? How is your service in everything, in church as well? Some of us get to work on time, even when we feel fluish, even when we feel sick, we still go to that 9 to 5. Yet you have a little fatigue, you feel a bit tired, you will not go to service. Yet every day, every Sunday at church, you are guaranteed to be 15 to 20 minutes late. That's not right. We need to be the same in everything we do. Whatever you do, do it heartily, do it as unto the Lord and not unto men. It's not your pastor that's going to give you the reward. It's not your boss that's going to give you the reward. It's not your customers that are going to give you the reward. It's God himself. So remember, Christianity is an identity. We represent Christ in whatever we do. So I hope this encourages us, and it just propels us to do better and to remember who we are. We are children of God. We are co-heirs with Christ. So we need to act differently than everybody else. Our work ethic needs to represent Christ, just like Daniel did. And we will stand apart. And I guarantee you, God will indeed promote us in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you very much for joining me. And as I always say, 3 things will always remain, and that is faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of them all is love. Do everything with love, and God will reward you with love. He will reward your labor of love. It is a labor of love that he rewards, not a begrudging labor, not a salary labor, but a labor of love. So I thank you very much for joining me. See you next time, saints. Bye-bye.